Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 3 of Winning with Williams, right here on the 5 Red Lights. My name's Aaron, and if you've missed the last 2 episodes, or the first 2 episodes, go and check them out because we've actually been doing pretty well for what Williams might have expected. We've, spoiler alert, bagged 2 12th place finishes, finishing ahead of AlphaTauri, at least one of them in the opening 2 races. So we're diving into the R&D tree pre-China, and we're going to add a couple of upgrades, just checking our engine wear as well. The engine's starting to get a little bit tired, so we'll have to do some work on the durability side of things. Adding an engine development and a couple of other bits and pieces that are still in the pipeline. And there's a shot of the upgrade curve for everyone so far. The upgrades we did before Australia have actually come in really handy because, as you can see, we've sort of jumped up to level with Haas and Alfa Romeo, which means we're in the fight. As Fernando Alonso famously said, now we can fight, and boy are we fighting. So 2 12th place finishes. What can we achieve in China? Well, practice 1, 17th and 18th. I did most of my running on the hard tyre just to go through the practice programs, and then in practice 2 we're actually 7th on the soft tyres. So we could be in potentially to top the group that exits Q1. So we're going to dive into Q1 now and let's see how we get on. So diving straight into our first lap in Q1, at the end of it there, just coming down the back straight, nice and tidy through the final, not chicane, the final couple of corners. Important to get good traction out of the hairpin and nail the apex for the final corner over the line, and it is a 33.1, which at the time being, with 11 minutes left of the session, puts us 7th, actually ahead of Lance Stroll's racing points. So we'll fast forward because some drivers haven't been out and set a time yet, and by the time everyone has set a time, Alex Albon the last to do so, we're actually 14th. So we're going to go out and try and secure our place in Q2, which is something we've kind of threatened to do in both of the opening races. So nice and tidy through the first snail section, a little bit of understeer through the second part there, the switchback, the left-hander, turn 3. Good traction though, up to the end of sector 1, and we are up by half a tenth, a tenth and a half now. Obviously we're on new tyres, still in 14th place. Keep it smooth through the S section. We actually dropped down a place to 15th. We are right on the bubble, and Kimi Raikkonen is now 16th, and he has improved and cannot catch us, but we run wide and actually invalidate our lap when 3.5 tenths up. So we can't actually improve. We're going to have to sit and wait. And have we made it through? We have! A Williams is in Q2, and it's not driven by George Russell. It's driven by me. George actually gets 18th there, so we've actually beaten Alfa Romeo and Haas. I've beaten both of them, and I'm into Q2. So I used my first run in Q2 with the set tyres that I invalidated the lap with at the end of Q1 as just a banker, which was slowest of everyone, as to be expected. So brand new set of tyres, 37 seconds left of the session, and this is our chance. Can we get into Q3? I mean, that would be absolutely bananas, but we're almost 4 tenths of a second up on our banker lap as we come through sector 1. Clump the curb as we go through turn 6 there, the right-hander, and good traction into the S section. We hold a nice line, a little bit too much curb there I think, which maybe cost us a little bit of time, and slightly wide through the second part of the S section. Now the double left-hander here, sometimes I can get a little bit too much wheel spin, so I have to kill the wheel spin with a quick upshift. Hamilton goes fastest with a 31.2. I'm not sure we'll be troubling that lap time, but we are approaching 7/10 of a second up on our personal best. Obviously with a used set of tyres, 2 green sectors, 2 personal bests so far. So the bottom 5 at the moment as we go down the back straight and open the DRS is Stroll, Gasly, Ocon, Kvyat and myself. Where can we get ourselves amongst that lot? Keep it nice and tidy through the hairpin. Second gear, get good traction. Quick upshift and kill the wheel spin on exit. Nice wide entry. Don't cut the corner. Don't run wide. And open the DRS. Almost 9/10 of improvement. Where does it put us? 13th! Absolutely incredible. We are 13th on the grid for the Chinese Grand Prix. We are ahead of a Renault. Esteban Ocon, what is going on? You've been outqualified by a Williams on pure merit in a dry session. Let's race from 13th on the grid.
It's time to find out which driver is up to the task of claiming the Chinese Grand Prix. We're here in Shanghai. Shanghai International Circuit then, a 16-corner high-speed thrill ride. The long and ever-tightening right-hander at turns 1 and 2 tests a driver's patience, and the flat, open to the elements location, tests their skill in a crosswind. 2 DRS zones will assist passing, and overtaking is available into turn 1, and of course down the kilometre-long back straight into the hairpin at turn 14. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of turn 1. So how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
There are 3 main things to worry about there, Crofty. Positioning, awareness and discipline. First, you have to put your car in a bit of space and make sure you have room to react to what the others are doing. Then you have to watch your mirrors and listen to the sounds around you to get a sense of where everyone is. And finally, just don't get too greedy. Just because a gap exists doesn't always mean you should go for it.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Vettel, Alexander Albon, and Ricciardo, Leclerc, Perez, Sainz, and Lando Norris. Stroll, Gasly, Herbert, and Ocon, Kvyat, Magnussen, Kimi Raikkonen, and George Russell. Giovinazzi and Romain Grosjean sits at the back of the grid. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
So that's the grid then. We won't be battling with Valtteri Bottas today. He has stuck it on pole position, which I think is his 2nd of the season. So he'll be alongside Lewis Hamilton. We're just going to adjust our strategy here. 25% race, 5 laps on the softs and then on the mediums to the end. And we are looking for 5 red lights. Find the revs. And it's go in China. We'll make a good start. And we're passing Stroll and Gasly. We're up the inside here. Gasly's going to come back at us and he's whacked into my front right tyre. We've made contact with Gasly on the opening lap again. But we're hanging it around the outside. It's opening up nicely. Gasly's still there. Can we not exceed track limits? And we can make the pass on the AlphaTauri. And Kvyat actually nips through as well. So a decent start for us. And we're on the back of the McLarens. We're up to P11. Kvyat having a look down the outside, but we're going to shut the door on him because we're going to get a good exit. Now we're on the tail of the McLarens. We're literally within touching distance of the points. If we can get ahead of these guys and pounce early while everyone's bunched up, Leclerc's there. We could. Where could we get this car? Are points on offer today? A little bit wide through the exit of the double left-hander, but we're kind of still in touch. And with that, a little bit of contact. Someone was up our inside. We've got a yellow flag. We're going to have a replay of that here. And it's actually the AlphaTauris, Gasly looking ahead at Kvyat, and Kvyat then turns that into a move on me, and it all goes wrong for Kvyat. So back with the onboard of myself now, and we're in the slipstream of Norris. Rich mixture. Not so much overtake left, so we're just going to have to use the slipstream. Will we dive bomb? Thinking about it, thinking better of it. It's a long race, even though it's only 14 laps. Lots to gain and lots to lose from this position. We could always lose the race on lap 1 as Bottas sets the fastest lap, but you can very seldom win it. So a decent first lap actually, up 2 places from 13th. A little bit of contact with Gasly, no damage. You just see me scroll through the MFD, checking for that as we went through the opening corner. And we're nicely on the back of the 2 McLarens, and then Norris is getting a little bit out of shape, and so are we in our excitement to get on his tail. And that could have been an opportunity to pass, but I think we kind of missed it there, getting a bit too excited. So we're coming across the final corner to close out lap 2, and we've actually dropped to a second behind Norris here as the DRS is now enabled. What can we do from here? Well, we'll close up at the end of the lap, and heading into the final corners, the gap has come down, as you can see, significantly. And as we exit the final corner, we pick up the DRS, and we are just under 9/10 of a second behind. Ocon is still on our tail, and as we close out lap 5, we are pitting at the end of this lap. We've moved up to 5th position, getting a nosebleed by this point, but we're still behind Norris. So can we gain some positions in the pit stops as we get it slowed down nicely? No speeding penalty for us. A few cars staying out, one of which will be our teammate George Russell. Importantly, we won't want to lose position to Ocon through the pit stops. So we're looking for a good stop here, please, boys. It's 2.5 seconds. We missed a chance to get out a little bit quicker, which costs us some time to Norris. And we get it very excited out of the pit lane, and that's going to cost us even more time to Norris. We actually cross the white line and pick up a warning for that. Just got a little bit too trigger happy with the old accelerator button on the controller. And so we're now down by 1.2 seconds, 1.3 seconds on Norris. So the slow getaway from the pit stop and then losing the rear end has cost us some time. And as we come through to close out lap 6, we're well out of DRS range. We're now almost 2 seconds adrift of the McLaren, and our fight now is to retain 11th place from Ocon. And he's just inside the DRS window, about a second, 9/10 of a second adrift. And behind him is Pierre Gasly, who we seem to attract a lot at the moment for action and for bashing into each other. So we'll have to keep an eye out on Gasly. So we've got an incident slightly further ahead. We're going to come round the penultimate corner, and there's the yellow flashing light. Max Verstappen is out of the session, a second consecutive retirement for the Red Bull driver. The Honda is clearly not happy about something. I mean, could Honda leave the sport because of this? Their unreliability causing them to be uncompetitive? And there we go into 10th place. We are in the points. We are up into the points. 5 laps to the end. Can we hang on to this solitary point? I asked the question earlier, would points be on the table? We haven't had to get past Sainz or Norris ahead of us. They've cleared off. They're about 4 seconds up the road. But now it is imperative that we keep Ocon behind. We're struggling a little bit. Ocon's pace is very good at the moment. Ours is not so strong on the mediums. And we're a little bit deep as we go into the left-hander at the end of that straight, and we now come onto the long, almost never-ending right-hander, and we understeer, can't get the car on the optimal line, and now Ocon will have the DRS, and surely he will take the place. Here he comes in the slipstream. We're going to defend, half defend, leave him just about a car's width, and the Renault sails down the inside. Can we get close enough on the brakes to take the place back? No, we can't. Ocon out of reach. Can we pick up the DRS out of the final corner and pounce into turn 1? Perhaps. Got caught on the curb, slightly out of shape. We're not going to close by enough, and we might just have to focus our attention on Gasly, who's now less than a second behind. What about Ocon? What can we do about him? We close through turn 1. Still not over. 10th place is there. We can get a good run out of turn 3, but Ocon's actually got a better run, and that, I think, will be all she wrote for us attempting to take points on the road. So Ocon will pull away here. He's now a second away from us as we come through sector 1 on lap 11. Gasly is now half a second behind, and I'm just driving defensively, so I end up just bleeding lap time because I'm not taking the best possible line. I have to constantly think about driving defensively and stopping them getting a run on me. They've got faster machines at the moment. Gasly is now 0.4 of a second behind, and it's through that middle sector out of turn 6, the left-right sweep, and then the double left-hander. That's where I struggle. Apparently I also struggle at the left-hander before the back straight, and we get out of shape. Kick of oversteer on acceleration, and we're actually stuck in lean revs there, trying to kill the wheel spin, and with rich mixture engaged now, a little bit of overtake, but we're only down to 5%, 4% of electrical power to use, and Gasly will take 11th place from us. Do a better job of trying to get the place back, but Gasly's got it. We're in his slipstream now, we're right on his tail. What can we do here? We can pick up wing damage. Fantastic. So all chances of finishing anything other than 12th are severely hampered now, although we may finish 13th because 8.5 seconds back is Magnussen, so we're going to have to keep an eye out on him. But that's really frustrating because we could possibly have put pressure on Gasly for 11th place. But still, 12th is probably still overachieving. And as you can see, as we go through the final corner there, we are struggling through every left-hand corner. Magnussen now 5.5 seconds behind us with 2 laps remaining. So it's going to be difficult. We might just be alright. We might hang on with a couple of seconds to spare. But again, through the left-handers, we are really struggling. We are checking for our last lap time was at 40.6, and we're missing the apex completely at turn 6, and that's not even a left-hander. So a lapse of concentration from me there, which will cost us even more lap time to Magnussen. 4.3 seconds behind now he is, and we're about to come up to a double left-hander where we've been weak anyway. And look, we are miles away from the apex, let alone the racing line. We run wide on exit. We don't pick up an exceeding track limits warning. And in the space of about 2 laps, we've lost over 7 seconds to Gasly. So the fight is on to retain 12th place, our favourite 12th place, which is where we always seem to finish so far in winning with Williams. Gasly now almost 8 seconds ahead. Magnussen almost 2.5 seconds behind with just over a lap to go. Decent exit out onto the penultimate corner, out of the penultimate corner I should say. But if you look on the bottom right, the engine icon is in orange, so with not only are we fighting wing damage, we are struggling with a wearing engine. So I think the Williams reliability is sort of middle of the road, so the Honda teams, which may explain why Verstappen's car is constantly blowing up. As Magnussen closes to within a second and a half now, our engine is wearing, our wing is hampering us, and the gap is closing. Magnussen is on the charge. I mean, if he overtakes me, it will gain him absolutely 0 points, but driver's pride is everything. The gap is now less than a second. We're saving up our ERS, so we're going to deploy that all the way down the back straight to defend, which has also really cost us some lap time. As we now, Magnussen closing as we approach the left-hander, we shut the door aggressively. As Lewis Hamilton wins the race and Bottas sets the fastest lap. Here are the Mercedes. Bottas started from pole, but Hamilton has got the better of his Finnish teammate once again. He wins for the third time in a row to start this winning with Williams career mode. But right now we're interested in retaining 12th place again on the final lap. So we're gonna go right to the line, defending aggressively against Magnussen. That's how he plays. So we're going to play him at his own game. He's a tenth of a second back. He's not close enough to have a look. We should just hang on for a third consecutive 12th place finish. Don't understeer off the road in the final corner, Aaron. Good. Up to the line. Checkered flag. 12th place.
All right, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium.
Another win for Lewis Hamilton. Bottas finishes second and Albon is third. Eagle-eyed amongst of you would have noticed Albon's actually second in the World Championship at the moment. I don't know how this will affect the standings. We'll have a look in a second. Spray that champagne, Lewis, like you mean it. Albon's very happy to be up on the podium, and we are happy to have finished in 12th place, scrambling home. Actually, we finished a place ahead of where we started, but we kind of benefit from Verstappen retiring. George finishes in 16th ahead of Kvyat, Stroll and Grosjean. We drop down to 14th in the standings. Gasly now with a better non-point scoring finish than we have. And George drops to 19th. Williams drop a place to 8th behind AlphaTauri. But overall, a decent performance. We made Q2, but the race pace is still leaving something to be desired. I don't know if that's the car or if that is me. Probably both. So probably mostly me, actually. As you see there in the highlights of the start, there was a bit of damage to one of the racing points, which might actually explain why Stroll was last. So it's not just because he was terrible. He actually picked up some damage. But that's the end of the video. We bagged another 12th place finish. We took out an AlphaTauri there. And we move on to the next race, which will be Zandvoort. So we'll be heading to the Dutch Grand Prix, where Max Verstappen's Honda Red Bull will probably explode again. But I haven't recorded that at the time of recording this, so we'll have to wait and see. Thanks for watching. Check out the rest of the series. Check out the rest of the videos on the channel, and subscribe if you're new. Like the video and leave any comments in the comment section down below. My name's Aaron. This has been the 5 Red Lights, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.